Brothers and sisters, once again, I was suggested to watch Jesse Kotton replays. He played like crazy. I guess he's the GOAT for a reason. And by following your guys' instruction, I decided to analyze Jesse Kotton against Maguro. Let's move forward to the replay. Maguro, also known as the Pollo Dance Maker, he made his name during the previous Duelist Cups. He's a known Cybers player, to be honest. And he's also the reason why everyone in the ladder might play a deck like circular-based deck. He loves that card. Unfortunately, we did not see him on circular, but we saw him on Parking. So he special summoned Witch by pitching Arvata. The information that we got about his end are Witch, Arvata that you can see in the graveyard. Then we got Ponyx, Flamebirch, and Kirin. Now again, once again, we are against the 60 card pile. At this point in time, it's round 4, set 1. Jesse Kotton already played the previous rounds. During this time, every list was leaked. So we basically know Jesse Kotton decklist. So, which pitch Arvata is, in my opinion, correct. Considering the end of Maguro, in my opinion, is the correct start in this position. And this also doesn't need to play around any entropy. So I would play greedy as well. Which is gonna set original and then activate original, in my opinion, is also correct. I think like special summoning Ash, going into Popular, like it's definitely like the line to go here. Goes into Popular, Popular special summons, and then we turn the Popular into Linkuribo. That in my opinion, obviously, it's unnecessary. I said that multiple times. You can just, like, it's literally an oak line, and then you establish the Linkuribo later. Plays kinda bad into Nibiru. Considering his end, this is actually fine, because he got Death Flamberge in it. That can always be popped by the fit spell, so I actually don't mind him summoning the Linkuribo in this position. I think it's fine. I don't think it's a mistake whatsoever. Popular effect is gonna place the Popular in the spell and trap zone, and then we use Ash effect in order to summon the Flamberge from the end. Then normal summon Ponyx. Ponyx effect is gonna add the Sanctuary, activate Sanctuary, and now we have the island on the board. The last card in is Kirin. Now there is a very nice and technical play that could be done here. I think it's unnecessary, obviously, do this play, but like just for the sake of the discussion, I'm gonna mention it to you guys. Now you guys have to know that the 5 king cards, they said if they are destroyed and sent to the graveyard, they don't need to be monsters in order to be destroyed. They could be as well in the spell and trap zone and be destroyed, and they will still trigger into the graveyard. This applies to Kirin, this applies to Arvata. A nice, interesting, and technical play that could be done in this position is using Flamberge, that in my opinion in the Fire King decklist is not really needed to be used in order to put something in the spell and trap zone, because you are always gonna try to establish a Kirin in hand and an Humblewell on the board with an IP in the spell and with an IP in the graveyard. You could use the Flamberge, put the Arvata in the spell and trap zone, link away the Ponyx and the Flamberge in order to summon an IP, establish a princess, the princess is gonna summon back the Flamberge, go for a Sunlight Wolf line, and then later on use the island to pop the Kirin in order to add the Garonix, use the Kirin effect to establish the Ponix back on the board, pop the Arbata in the spell and trap zone, and Garonix gets summoned, and Chelling one Garonix, Chelling two Arbata, in order to special summon back the Kirin from the graveyard. That's an interesting line. It's not needed in this position, but it's something that I wanted to mention, just in case you are missing some bodies in the Farking gameplay, or in some Farking lines. This is something that you should take in consideration every time you open with Arbata, because you always get a +2 in the process if you do this play by surrendering on the spell and trap zone of Plunge. Remember that you always want to try to establish 4 bodies under an Apollosa, and in my opinion, that's a very insightful line that might help you guys to establish the best board, especially through interruption sometimes. But in my opinion, in this position, it does not need to do that. I think what it's doing so far is definitely correct. So decides to pop the Kirin, add the Garonix, Chelling one Kirin, Chelling two Garonix. How do you pop your back row? You can pop it with your own Kirin, because Kirin pops a card on the board. Special summon the Garonix, Kirin is gonna summon back the Arbata. Garonix effect is gonna pop the Garonix, that's gonna trigger in order to summon the OG Garonix. This is perfectly fine. This is perfectly fine. I have no complaint whatsoever about what's happening. Now, link the 2 monsters, fire monsters that he has on the board in order to summon the Sunlight Wolf. Here I think I have some complaints. Obviously, cannot really link away the Flame Birch, because obviously, if it does so, he cannot use Flame Birch effect in order to summon 2 monsters on the field. But he can play around with bodies, and he can establish, he can play around with the bodies and establish an IP, and establish an IP and a Sunlight Wolf by using a Nightmare Phoenix, and by summoning a Nightmare Phoenix under the Link is endport, because now the Link climb is very weird. And what he's trying to accomplish by doing a Sunlight Wolf here is a line that I really hate. The line that I really hate is the Humbleweed line. I think, personally, in this position, I don't even think it's bad. I think it's probably a very nice option in this situation. I hate actually the line that he's gonna do, and you're gonna see why, but especially for the fact that he has already Arbata on the board, and for the fact that he's playing a 60 card pile against a 60 card pile, and he's already protected. I don't dislike this line in this specific scenario. In every other scenario, I would probably talk shit. In this scenario, I'm saying it is probably fine. So I'm actually not against what he's gonna do. I think so far he's playing very clean. And he decides to link away the Sunlight Wolf and the Linkuribo in order to summon back, a princess, and that princess is gonna summon back the Sunlight Wolf, and then he's gonna link away the Flame Birch and the princess in order to summon Humbleweed over Sunlight Wolf. That's gonna trigger the Flame Birch and trigger the Sunlight Wolf in order to add back the Kirin. And now he's gonna use the Poplar and the Garonix in order to establish an IP. And after that, he's gonna use 3 bodies in order to summon the Apollosa. Now, again, in any other scenario, in any other opening, I would be against this end board, because I think this end board would suck a lot. But especially with this end, I think this was one of the most optimal lines. And I think he played very clean in turn 0. So, at this point we know the Kirin in the end, an Apollosa that's made my 3, we got an Armata, and we got a Humble Whale that when it's gonna be popped by the Kirin, will trigger the Humble Whale in the graveyard in order to summon an IP on the board that's gonna turn itself into an SP later on. So moving forward, we see Jesse Kotton. Let's talk about the end of Jesse Kotton in this game. We know that he has Sarcophagus, that he just activated King Sarcophagus, Mudora, Foolish Goods, Trivikarma, Mare, which is basically a Rhino Art, a worse Rhino Art in some scenarios, or even better depending on the end. And then we got actually Rhino. So we start with King Sarcophagus. Jesse decides to start with King Sarcophagus, pitch the Mudora, send to the graveyard the Duamater. Now I think Maguro rightfully is gonna use the Kirin in hand, popping the Humble Whale, chilling one Garonix, chilling to Humble Whale, targeting the IP. Special summon back the IP, and then use Garonix effect, chain IP. With IP, he decides to go for SP, and SP is gonna target the Mudora in the graveyard. Shelling 1, shelling to kill. Why is Maguro targeting the Mudora in the graveyard? Maguro is targeting the Mudora in the graveyard because he has an Apollosa on the board, and the Kirin is gonna already pop the Sarcophagus, so there is no reason for him to not do it. Someone would argue that you could do this play on the activation of the Sarcophagus. I don't think it's correct in this specific scenario to actually respond on the activation of Sarcophagus, because he would lose one interruption. The interruption that he would lose would be either Kirin or SP, because you already have a Kirin that's gonna deal with the Sarcophagus, so you want your SP to gain value by banishing something else. So he's trying to optimize his interruptions. So chain the Mudora, chain Apollo. And here we see, in my opinion, a huge misplay from Maguro. Now, the huge misplay that we see here is not very straightforward. It's not something that you will notice until very late in the game state. He summoned the Onyx in order to add a Skyburn from the deck to his hand. The Skyburn does not really matter, because if he survives this turn, he will have enough pushes to OTK Jesse Kotton next turn. I think that instead of the Onyx, this Onyx should have been a level 8, and level 8 in consideration could be Fire King, the OG Garmix. Why? It has to be, in my opinion, the OG Garmix. It's because no matter what Jesse Kotton does, you wanna have 2 level 8 on the board. Like, you want an interruption that can be used at any point to disrupt Jesse Kotton attempts to clear your board. So you don't want Jesse to be floating with bodies. So establish 2 level 8 early on in the game state. In my opinion, it's very advised. And the Ponix resolving in order to add you a Skyburn doesn't really actually accomplish anything. Because, yes, you can always pop the Arbata later with Princess in the graveyard and then use Arbata in order to reborn a level 8. But as you can understand, it's a sequence that will bring a level 8 back. It's a sequence that Jesse Kotton might disrupt at any point. It's a sequence that can be played around. So you want to establish interruptions and having those guaranteed on the board as early as possible. You don't want to give your opponent the chance to outplay you. This is a high-level games, like a high-level gameplay, and you should be able to recognize how strong is your opponent. That he's gonna try his best in order to delay your interaction far enough for him to be able to play into your board. Again, it's a very it's a very like weird misplay as I am stating right now, because it's not something that you would notice right now, but it's something that might come up later on in the game state. Ponix is gonna add Skyburn, and now Foolish Goods. Foolish Goods is gonna foolish the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, and now Rainbow Bridge of Salvation is gonna add from the deck to the end the Tortoise and the Walls of Imperial Thorn. Now activate the Walls. Walls is gonna with the since Walls is on the board, you can special summon back to Amatef, and here Maguro decides to trigger the princess, and that's, in my opinion, another misplay. Why it is a misplay? Because he has to pop the Arbata in order to establish the second level 8, which made the princess very awkward in this scenario. The princess here is very awkward, because the princess is his last attempt to be able to establish a second level 8 on the board for the Sanctuary to be actually live. So he needs to pop the Arbata. But there is a problem. The Arbata will never be reborn and was never used, because Kirin was already used, so there is no way to summon back the Arbata at this point. And if you use the princess, there is actually no way to summon back the Arbata, because the correct play would have been established to level 8 on the board. Later on we're gonna go for an Xyz. The Xyz later on is gonna be popped by the princess, or you can actually just pop something else with the princess. And then we can actually establish like a proper sequence. We can actually establish a proper sequence in order to disrupt our opponent. But this way, by triggering the princess in this exact scenario, we are losing the Arbata forever, and we did not maximize our interruptions. Also, there is another thing to take in consideration. He should chain Linkuribo to the princess. It's actually super important in this specific case, because at any point, if he establishes another Horus in the graveyard, just summoning back the Horus will trait the Apollousa. Or if he has a Sarcophagus, just entering in battle phase. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if he has a Sarcophagus, because the Sarcophagus can send the Apollousa anyways, so it's all Imseti. Or another Horus discarded to the graveyard that might actually matter in this position. Anyways, chain Linkuribo is definitely correct as well. Popping the Arbata, in my opinion, in this specific scenario makes zero sense, because the moment you pop Arbata means that you never used Arbata, you did not maximize your interruptions, and you are special summoning a level 8 that you surrender just by searching a Skyburn that you don't really care about right now anyways, because all you are focusing right now is surviving. But he decided just to waste a very strong interruption that way. Anyways, King Sarcophagus ad Imseti, and now we see the issue of not special summoning the Linkuribo. Because Apollosa is gonna negate the Imseti, but the Imseti can special summon itself to the board and enter in battle phase in order to out the opponent. Rivikarma is being used in order to add Perlereino, special summon the Imseti, enter in battle phase, attack over Apollosa, and now we have suddenly no monsters negation because we surrendered on the Arvata for a Ponix in order to add Sky. Jesse recognized this lack in the opponent field, and he decided to deal with it by wasting the battle phase, because he knows that his deck is totally capable of flipping a board in main phase 2, clearing the board, and win the game. Because if there is a choke point in the Fire King metagame, is basically the island. All Jesse needs to do is clearing the island in order to clear the entire board of Maguro in main phase 2. So enters in battle phase, and now it's main phase 2. We switch the field spell with Perlereino. We add Sharon, activate Sharon, pitch the Rhino, mill 3, and I think we already used the Sharon previously. I do believe that Sharon was already used previously. Normal summon Simare. Simare is gonna send Auphemis, and here is when, in my opinion, Maguro committed a lethal mistake. Now, hear me out. This position, I don't even think it's that complicated. Like, at this point, everything is known. Everything is known, and like, he should have, in my opinion, spent a little bit more time in order to analyze this position. Is that the moment you summon Kit, it's gonna be chilling one Kit, chilling two Perlereino. And Perlereino is 100% gonna target the Sanction. Like 100%, because there is no other pop. Like, there is nothing else that you wanna pop. Because he has also an Amblowell in the graveyard, remember that. So he cannot attempt to pop an Spirit of Force, because that would be bad. Cannot pop the Princess, because that would be bad. Any of those monsters holds no value on the board. The actual only good card that he would do, like that he would try to pop, and also because SP can be chained if he tries to pop, the only good card that he would attempt to pop on the board is literally Sanction. Now what's gonna happen is gonna be Chainlink one Kit, Chainlink to Perlereino, right? But the issue is that if you go for the Xyz 8 in chain, Jesse just gonna let that go. Then the Xyz 8 is gonna clear the IP, is gonna clear the entire board of Maguro, which basically will result of him clearing his own board, which is basically what Jesse wants. So the only way to avoid losing the grind in this position, which is actually very crucial, is using the effect of SP in order to banish itself and the Princess on the board. Because on the summon of Kit, then we can go actually for Sanctuary in order to establish the rank 8 and clear the entire board of Jesse Kotton, which will be left with a mill 5. But remember that Jesse is in main phase 2, so if you guarantee yourself follow-up with SP and Princess Banish that are gonna come back in the end phase, there is no way you can lose. Because there is no board that can beat you if you have those two on the board and a follow-up in rotation. So that's basically what Maguro should have done, because in main phase 2 there is no threat, there is nothing that can be done. Banishing the SP and banishing the Princess is definitely, in my opinion, the correct play. And I don't think it was hard to spot. I just don't think. I think it was just the pressure of playing against Mr. Kotton. So let's proceed. And now. So, as I said previously, there is only one good defensive play in this scenario, and this SP banish itself and the Princess, because on the summon of Kit Kalos, you want to trigger absolutely the Sanctuary, Because yes, you're gonna allow Jesse Kotton to mill 5, but you're also clearing all the 4 bodies on the board, and Shaden was already used. And that's the only counterplay that I think is 100% winning in this scenario. So, Chainlink 1 kit, Chainlink 2 Perlereno, and this is, in my opinion, the misplay that costs Maguro the game against Jesse Kotton, because now he cannot use the Sanctuary because Jesse would allow it, like it doesn't care if you clear your own board. So Maguro has only 1 play left, and it's SP to banish itself and the kit. The issue is that he loses his last layer of interruption, which is basically the Sanctuary. And here now we are playing the Jesse Kotton game. The Jesse Kotton game that's gonna exhaust the opponent resources and play at his own terms. So now the Horus Chaos of SP is gonna trigger and send the Fire King Island, which is gonna clear the entire board. And now there is the Amblowell that triggers in order to pop the Shader, and then we got the Tier Element Kashtira that mills 3 cards after banishing a Tier Element card, but that doesn't matter what he actually triggers, because it actually does not matter. Because there is a very simple play that wins on the spot for Jesse Kotton, and is Activate Snow. Exit Summon into Duel, and deny all the opponents Graveyard Effect, Aka, Follow-up. So, Dweller effect, and activate Wanted. Wanted is gonna add Diabellista. Special Summon the Witch. Enter in battle, face attack over Dweller. Nothing else to attack. Main phase 2 is gonna link away into another princess. Again, this... I mean, obviously the shuffler was very good in this position. I don't think Maguro was in a good position anyways. I mean, the shuffler was very good in this position, but like, he got punished because, in my opinion, he played incorrectly. Because now the shuffler is gonna activate, shuffle back the Shaden and the Garonix, trigger the field spell, pop the Promethean, and face, and here is basically game on board. And now we saw basically what happened in this game. Jesse Kotton once again analyzed the position, spotted the flaws of the end board, spotted the follow-up flaws that Maguro had. Maguro did not optimize his interruptions and ended up losing in a 100% winning position. I hope you guys like this kind of content. If you have any other opinion regarding this game, the game states that I have explained to you guys, or my opinion, feel free to comment down below and let me know your thoughts about it. I appreciate you all, and I wish you guys a wonderful day.